Yeah. Downtown Disney is getting a total reimagining. This whole back end with where ESPN Zone, Rainforest Cafe, where the AMC Theater used to be, now it's a giant hole in the ground. That whole back area now is getting a total reimagining where it's going to be more mid-century, like Dre touched upon. I absolutely love this. First of all, Disneyland, it was birthed mid-century, 1955. This is a nice little homage to the park. I think it's really, really cool. I'm digging what we're seeing here. Alia, I'm going to start with you this time. What do you feel about the artwork we're seeing here? Are you like it? Not so much? Where are you at with this?
It's not exciting, but at the same time, it's not horrific either. It seems like it'd be really relaxing to walk around in. I kind of like outdoor malls, but sometimes they can be too themey. I like how it's kind of and I don't have proper terms and all that, but kind of like a neutral walking around shopping structures. Tying into Disneyland Forward, I think the fact that hotel is staying, I think that means maybe then the expansion would be beyond the hotel, would be more maybe of downtown Disney. Maybe around there they might have a little bit more of theme structures, but in this, as they approach the hotels, the Pixar Pier and then Disneyland Hotel, they want that like 50s, 60s look. Yeah. And then more of downtown Disney has, a little bit more of the kind of like more modern type building structures that look more like a trendy outdoor mall. But I can kind of see it's kind of like a walking through journey in time kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I really like the artwork down there on the bottom left of the new stage. This whole back end of downtown Disney has never had like a permanent stage. They would kind of would erect these sort of like temporary stages where bands would perform. It's nice to finally get a permanent stage over there now where bands and everything could perform, and it's more of a permanent situation compared to before, where it was really it was like a concert set up in like a parking lot, right? They would set up the temporary stage and everything. It wasn't the most attractive thing. So I really like that mid-century stage. But Dre, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, are you digging the aesthetics, not digging the aesthetics? Where are you at with this?
Well, yeah, on the topic of aesthetics, to Alia's point, actually, it's quite interesting because previously the themed restaurants and facilities that or express their themes more bluntly, should I say, used to be at the far end, and now they're kind of stripping that a little bit back and going with the kind of this kind of unified mid-century modern look. It's quite fascinating, the departure in those kind of styles, and it makes sense. I mean, it's closest to a mid-century hotel, which being the Disneyland Hotel, so it makes sense they would go in this direction. And it looks like the new Pixar Pier Hotel concept is going to accompany that in some way. Look, it's I think my whole thing is it's more mid-century modern, right? And we've gotten a lot of mid-century modern from Walt Disney Imagineering. I believe I've said this on previous shows. It's a lot. And look, I get it. I get this is the direction they want to go into. It's fine. But I don't know. Does it still have that same Disney difference? Does it have that character and charm that you can't find anywhere else? As we talked about this on the phone yesterday, OG, we were talking about how other places in the area evoke this similar style, and Disney kind of going hardcore into this in more ways than one with the Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen and so forth. It is one of those things. It's like, wow, they're kind of doing this, and is it necessarily going to be special in the way that Disney used to approach projects? I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to wait for the final result.
Yeah, and you bring up the Jazz Kitchen, and that was the really biggest thing with the announcements.
Huge.
With fans. Fans were having like, oh my God, a meltdown over the Jazz Kitchen. And here's the thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Alia, you wouldn't even believe it.
It's crazy.
Believe it.
Crazy.
But here's the thing. The Jazz Kitchen right now is really beautiful. It's very New Orleans with the iron railing on the balconies. It looks like something straight out of New Orleans. It's beautiful. It's very charming. It's gorgeous. Okay, it really is. And Disney wants to change it to what we're seeing here. Now, here's the thing. This kind of look right here is very Disney Springs. It's like that typical kind of outdoor mall that you would see like in Calabasas, California, or Newport Beach. It's a kind of like, it's nice. It's nice, but it's very kind of like
so they're having a little bit of that touch, because I mentioned it wasn't that more mid-century part wasn't very like the outdoor malls, but I guess they're doing a little bit of that with this restaurant. Okay,
with this one,
they are.
Okay,
they're taking away here's the thing. As much as I sympathize with fans and understand where fans are coming from, and I'm one of them, I love how Jazz Kitchen looks right now with the very New Orleans style. I think Disney's mentality, though, which I also understand, is they don't want to have buildings and structures in downtown Disney that are very hyper focused on one vendor. We've seen this issue with Rainforest Cafe. They built this ancient temple in the middle of downtown Disney. Then Rainforest Cafe leaves, and now you're stuck with this temple that, like, what can you do with that now, right? That's kind of the issue they're coming up against here with the Jazz Kitchen. It's very New Orleans right now, but I think Disney wants to sort of make it a little more neutral so they can swap these vendors in and out a lot more easy. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but that's really what it is. And from a business perspective,
completely understandable. Yeah.
Understandable. They don't want to have to bulldoze a building every time a new vendor comes in. It doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. As long as it looks nice. Look, we've seen it. Look what Disney Springs used to be. Doesn't that sit on the same property that Paradise? That Pleasure Island was.
Yes.
With
it encompassed it. Yeah.
Right. And that Pleasure Island had giant neon signage of Jessica Rabbit and all this cool flavor.
You better watch your mouth, son. Not joking.
they stripped all of that away, and they did a very outdoor Calabasas, Newport Beach mall. That's what they did. It looks really pretty, but it's like this. And it's because they want to have that flexibility. They don't want something that's going to be specific for one vendor, where when another vendor comes in, they got to bulldoze the building. And I understand both sides. I get Disney's side. I also get why fans are upset, but that's kind of where they're at, I think,
And it will be their store, like World of Disney. That's very, and if they do something else like that, in that maybe even beyond the Pixar Pier Hotel, it's going to be loud and proud too, because it's going to be their store. So,
that's going to be an interesting thing because you say that, Alia, but I can actually see those characters going away as well. And what happens to the windows that are on the side there? I don't know, fans. You better get ready because some changes are coming. I think they want a more unified look.
Too? Wow.
I don't know. They redid the interior to a very modern design. Wouldn't surprise me if they actually apply that to the outside,
I may lose my cred, but it's been a while since I've been there, so.
Oh, you're completely fine. I could see it going one or two ways. I could see them keeping their theme and having this kind of special thing just for Disney, or I can see it also too becoming unified. And it also, it's also this kind of retail mindset, right? Don't have the location kind of take away from the merchandise or take away from the services,
okay.
right?
Right.
And if a lot of vendors complain, they might want to be fair to the vendors too. Like, okay, we'll play the rules to ourselves too, that kind of thing.
Probably. So I think they're going for a more unified look, a more streamlined look for all of downtown Disney. And that's not the worst thing. It's just I wish the theme was just a little bit different. It doesn't
make the eyeballs go.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make things, it doesn't pop.
Right. And it's interesting, I heard an interview with Eddie Sato recently, and he was talking about how, like, it's like, yes, retail, the product should be kind of at the forefront, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, wait a minute. The reason why you go down to some of these locations and actually walk into some of these shops is to kind of see the shops themselves. That's one of the reasons why you walk in there, not just for the merchandise. And so, I don't know, the attention grabbing stuff, the stuff that kind of gets you in there, I am sympathetic to that argument. At the same time, obviously, the kind of retail mentality is products should be first and foremost. It's kind of that Apple retail mentality, right? So they're kind of going that direction. I hear both sides. I'm much more of a themed person, but I understand why they're doing this.
Well, you know what? Have you guys? You guys aren't in California, but like years ago, they used to have a restaurant chain called The Dive. Okay. Google it at home if you haven't heard of The Dive, if you're too young, because it's a while ago, everybody. It's a while ago. But The Dive was owned by Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg. And what The Dive was basically the submarine voyage at Disneyland as a restaurant. And they had one over here in California in Century City. And you'd walk in, it looks like a submarine. And you're eating your food, and every like half an hour, it would like pretend like it's diving. They have water bubbles in the windows, and it would go dive, dive, dive. Fantastic, right? And this was like in the 90s, right? This is when the height of these kind of themed kind of experiences, like restaurants and stuff, is the height of all that, right? When City Walk was there and everything, this is the height of all that. I miss it. I would love to see something like that right now in Disney Park, in downtown Disney. I just think, unfortunately, I think a lot of these really kind of loud, heavily themed, very specific venues are sort of a thing of the 90s. They're kind of becoming a relic right now. And I just think Disney's sort of following this trend of sort of, sort of like really super nice, but not themed necessarily. Stuff that you see in Newport Beach, stuff that you see when you go to like the Americana in Glendale, stuff that you see when you go to the Grove in LA, just really nice shopping centers that aren't really themed though to anything specific. Yeah, I think that's kind of the trend right now with retail. And I think they're all in. I don't think the days of like the big signage and the big Jessica Rabbit, neon and all that, I think those days are over, at least for now, I think.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's kind of weird because with the restaurants and bars and stuff, they're almost going in kind of like maybe the opposite direction, or at least they were, right? Like Trader Sam's is huge. I mean, it's massive, right? Jock Lindsay's over at Disney Springs, it gets the crowds. But with retail, they're going in the opposite direction. It's like as minimalist as you can get it, and it's quite fascinating, the juxtaposition of styles.
Thanks, Apple. Thanks, Tim Cook.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I can blame you.
well, that's kind of the model.
What is it, the Apple Store?
That's the model.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. Apple is very, very minimalistic. When you go in, it's the product that's the star of the show,
That's it, right? Yeah, exactly.
It's the product, and they don't. And Disney even followed that with their Disney stores. Disney stores, when you walked in, it was heavily themed. They would have like the very primitive, but animatronics, on the ceilings and in the windows. And then Apple came around, and everything was like wood and like sleek lines and like the products, the show, And then Disney sort of followed that. And I think the industry in general is sort of following that because Apple's been so successful. So the buildings that house these things are very simple, and the merch and everything is kind of the show, And plus, it's easy. It's more easy to swap out, like World of Disney over at Downtown Disney. If you have these giant figures of Disney characters and what have you, it's harder to sort of incorporate like Marvel merchandise within all that.
Sure.
Well, now you have a blank canvas with like just brickwork behind you. You can make that whole room Marvel. You can swap it out, make it Star Wars. You can swap it out and make it Frozen. You can swap it out and make it Encanto. You can do whatever you want with it now. And I think it's a flexibility thing for sure.
And plus with the theme shopping and dining, I think Disney feels like, well, in the theme parks, we have tons of theme stores and theme restaurants. So, just steps away in the theme park, you can experience that if you miss it. But here in downtown Disney, we went, and I think you mentioned, you made a good point, OG, of I think they were burned by the vendors like Rainforest Cafe, House of Blues, etc. That didn't work out. And they left these big giant theme structures, and it's just, when it's empty, it's an eyesore. And I think even if maybe deep down they would love to have all that theming on the outside of buildings in downtown Disney, I think that burned them too. It's just kind of like, oh, that's there.
Yeah.
You don't want to repeat that.
It's fascinating because it's really a juxtaposition of styles, right? I mean, so Eddie Sada used to talk about how he was doing work for Disneyland Paris's Main Street and how he was assigned this land. And he really did it up. Like he really did it like, I mean, it's kind of a retail corridor for Disney parks, right? But he really embellished it and put all the theme that he possibly could in it. And it turns out, he got the report back about how long people were staying in Main Street. Now, usually for the American parks, it's probably close to 15 minutes at most, right? 30 minutes. The report came back. It was 2.5 hours that they were spending there, right? Because there was so much theme, there was so much to see and look at and do. Yeah. And I just kind of wonder, okay, retail's the product is the star, but it's one of those. Are they coming in your store for the product? Are they coming in are they coming in your store for the for the show, the experience, right? Or for the theme? How long are they staying? All those kind of things factor into it. And from what I understand, Main Street, I guess at Walt Disney World's going to be looking at that too. So hopefully they don't do anything drastic, but we will see. I wanted to highlight this one though. This shot here. This was a zoom in on the concept art that we saw for the earlier part of Disney's Downtown Disney, and this was from my Shet. And look at what you see here. You see turnstiles in the concept artwork. Now I understand we can't completely go by concept artwork, but this was pretty detailed, and I think this is put in for a reason. What do you guys think about this? What is up with this?
That's fascinating. I didn't even notice any of that. I was so drawn to the Walt Disney signature new logo on the right-hand side. I was so focused on that because I love that new logo. I never even noticed the turnstiles. That's fascinating.
That's absolutely weird, fascinating. Right?
Either it's for Disneyland Hotel or Pixar Pier Hotel guest only, that section, or it's little sneak peek at the Disneyland Forward concepts.
I really don't know. Remember, they're going to have a bandstand there. I mean, are we thinking
so if they have
that...
a concert with maybe kind of top bands, if they're charging money, then for that they can have that feature, a way to count attendance for the concert.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking. Now it's interesting that you set up for Disneyland Forward there. I never really thought about that, but this could be it for any number of things. And I just found it fascinating because I didn't see anybody talk about this, but it's there in the art, as you can see.
That is fascinating. And it makes me kind of wonder too, if Disney is sort of putting turnstiles there to sort of measure crowd flow.
Maybe.
Are they trying to see if retail districts like this are worth it? How many people are actually going through it? Maybe they want the data, Mr. Chapek.
Oh,
right? What a shocker.
The data. He's a big ally for retail.
Apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be.
There you go. Okay, sorry.
But maybe that's what it is. I mean, usually with turnstiles, the whole point of turnstiles really are to kind of gauge and see how many people are going into your attraction. Maybe they're trying to see how many people are actually going into downtown Disney, right? Maybe they're trying to see how many people go into this certain area. They want to measure it. The only thing though that might be a little off with that theory is that like you're kind of forced into downtown Disney because of the way it's set up.
Sure.
Like you're kind of forced into walking through it because it's like on your way. When you get off the tram, you're gonna go walk through it to the parks, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. I can't figure it out.
There's like a disc or awning structure above these too. So this was a choice. So it's just a very interesting thing. I thought, well, maybe baggage check, but then baggage check doesn't make sense because even if it was like in a turnstile format, it would be kind of like, full body, full body scanners and so forth. So it's just kind of fascinating. I just wanted to put it in there just to kind of like get get everything percolating.
Dre, I want to ask you, because this concept art, they show this stuff, and I have, as much as I've been to Disneyland, like hundreds and hundreds of times, I look at this concept art and I have no idea what we're looking at in terms of like where this would be right now. Where is this? Do you know where this takes place right now?
So I think this is where the AMC building was.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I think that's where that's from. I think it's like the AMC looking into this new area, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Okay.
Hey, you know what?
One time we were looking at the AMC Theater, but now we're looking at that. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Theater do take up a lot of space, so.
Oh, the AMC was massive. I mean, they bulldozed that thing, and it opened up a whole new world to stay on brand. They opened up a whole new world. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Fresh Baked and stuff, like the construction updates. And it's wild to see how much room opened up just by demolishing that. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane.
You're talking about massive screens there, so it's no surprise. It's either looking at AMC or it's looking like down the street from like the Disneyland Hotel side and looking down. It's like one of those. It's kind of hard to determine because there's no tall structures or anything that kind of orient you. But I mean, it speaks to the level of transformation we're going to see here.